You think being loyal, nice and available is what makes her want you. Think again. You've been told your whole life that if you're a good man, if you treat her right, show up consistently, and make her your priority, she'll love you more. But deep down, you know something's not working. You give everything. She pulls away. You stay loyal. She gets bored. You try harder. She gets colder. It's confusing. It's frustrating. And it's making you question your worth. Here's the brutal truth most men never hear. She doesn't want what you think. She doesn't crave the man who gives her everything. She craves the man who makes her feel something. That's what flips the script. That's what makes her chase. And that's what this video is going to break down for you, step by step. We're going to expose the 10 things that secretly trigger female attraction, not the stuff she says she wants, but the things that actually make her obsessed, emotionally, psychologically, sexually, and we'll do it through the lens of Stoicism logic and real male power. No fluff, no games, no fake bravado, just truth, delivered straight for the men who are ready to stop chasing and start being chased. Let's get into it. Number 1. Effort doesn't turn her on. Let's clear this up right now. Effort by itself is not attractive. It might earn you respect. It might get you politeness. But it won't trigger raw, instinctive desire. Take Mike, 43, divorced, solid job, emotionally available, a good man. He meets Jessica, 39, independent, attractive, says she's tired of games. Mike listens. He shows up, sends good morning texts, plans thoughtful dates, doesn't play games. The kind of guy women say they want. But after a few weeks, Jessica just doesn't feel the spark. Why? Because Mike gave her effort, not impact. He was predictable, reliable, emotionally generous, but he didn't move her emotionally. And this is where so many men get it wrong. They think effort equals attraction, that if they just do more, prove more, give more, she'll want more. But attraction doesn't work like that. It's not logical, it's biological. A woman's desire is not triggered by how much you do for her. It's triggered by how she feels in your presence. And if your effort comes off as neediness, as over-availability, as desperation masked as kindness, you're done. You become safe, but not sexy. Stoicism teaches us this clearly. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." But being a good man doesn't mean being a doormat. It means holding your ground, living by principle, knowing that your time, your energy, your attention is earned, not given away for free. Women respond to energy, presence, groundedness. When you walk into a room and you don't need to prove anything, she feels that. When you give her space instead of validation, she feels that. When you listen without trying to impress, she feels that too. Effort can be attractive, but only when it's backed by self-worth. If your actions are rooted in, "I hope this makes her like me," she'll feel the imbalance. And that imbalance kills polarity. Mike didn't need to try harder. He needed to feel less responsible for her interest, to show up as himself, not a salesman for his own value. Jessica didn't walk away because Mike lacked value. She walked away because he over-delivered without making her earn anything. And the truth is, we all do this when we're afraid of losing the connection. We start performing, pleasing, over-functioning, and in doing so, we strip away the very energy that creates desire, tension, uncertainty, emotional movement. So here's your shift. Stop thinking like a provider. Start thinking like a mirror. Show up, hold your ground, reflect her energy back without chasing it. Because when a man is solid, centered, and unbothered, his presence does the work. That's what draws her in. Not the gifts, not the texts, not the effort. That doesn't mean you should become cold or manipulative. The answer isn't to stop being kind. The answer is to stop being kind as a strategy. Because when kindness is authentic, rooted in calm confidence, it feels powerful. But when it's used as currency to buy affection, it feels weak. This is the version of effort that repels women, the man who can't sit still in silence, who over-explains, who overshares too soon, who rushes into vulnerability, not because he's emotionally intelligent, but because he wants emotional reassurance. And women, especially emotionally aware ones, pick up on that fast. What hits her at the core isn't your effort, it's your energy. And your energy is strongest when it comes from a place of abundance, not insecurity. So remember this, it's not about doing nothing. It's about doing from a place of detachment. You're not giving to impress, you're giving because it's who you are. You're not present to earn her attention. You're present because you're not afraid to walk away if she doesn't match it. That mindset changes everything. So stop proving, start being. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a quick comment below and tell me I stopped chasing. Let's see how many men are ready to flip the script. And stick around, because what we're going into next, it's the thing women feel but never admit, the emotional power you hold without even touching her. Number 2, she wants to feel, not think. You're not going to logic your way into her heart. That's where most men go wrong. They try to explain their value. They try to convince her they're a good choice. They lead with facts, their income, their honesty, their loyalty, and expect desire to follow. But here's the hard truth: you can't talk a woman into attraction. You have to make her feel it. Attraction isn't a thought process. It's not a checklist in her brain. It's a sensation, a rush, a shift in energy that hits her before she even knows what's happening. When a man is grounded, silent, and self-assured, she doesn't think. He's confident. She feels it. When you hold eye contact without flinching or explaining, she doesn't analyze your strength, she absorbs it. This is emotional communication, and it hits way deeper than anything you could ever say. Here's where Stoicism comes in. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The same goes for attraction. Most men are so deep in their own heads trying to perform or say the right thing, they lose all real presence. They're not in the moment, they're trapped in strategy. But women live in the moment. They pick up on emotional cues. They notice micro shifts in energy, tone, timing. So when you're thinking too much, she feels nothing at all. Real presence comes when you let go of performance and sink into stillness. You stop trying to entertain. You stop trying to impress. You let silence do some of the talking. Because when you're fully grounded, she feels something primal. She can't put it into words, and that's exactly what makes it powerful. This is why sometimes the guy who barely says anything is the one she can't stop thinking about. Not because he was mysterious on purpose, but because he didn't chase. He didn't over-explain. He made her feel, not think. That's the shift: less talking, more feeling. Less strategy, more stillness. Women don't remember how perfect your words were. They remember how they felt in your presence. And if all they felt was nervous energy, over-trying, over-eagerness, they forget you fast. But if they felt calm, challenged, intrigued, excited, even confused, that lingers, that's what keeps them thinking about you after the conversation ends. This doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you manage your emotions better than most men. You let her be the one on the roller coaster while you stay grounded at the center. Stoicism isn't about being cold, it's about being controlled. And that control creates tension. Tension builds attraction. Attraction triggers emotion. And emotion makes her chase. So, if you've been trying to win her with logic, stop. No more over-explaining, no more proving, no more walking her through your good man credentials. Instead, slow down, say less, watch more, hold the frame, feel the moment, and let her feel you. Now let's make this real. Drop it in the comments. I lead with energy. Say it, own it. Let the world know you're done begging to be understood and ready to be felt. Stick around, because next we're calling out the one identity most men fall into that secretly pushes her away. Number 3. The nice guy gets sidelined. Let's say this straight: the nice guy doesn't get hated, he just gets forgotten. And that's a brutal truth to accept, because most men were raised to believe that being nice is the path to being wanted. You're respectful, you're available, you don't rock the boat, you say yes when she needs you and no when it's too much. You think, if I just treat her well, eventually she'll see I'm the one. Now meet Brian, 48, IT manager in Denver. Solid guy, divorced once, no games. He meets Claire, 42, recently, out of a long relationship. Brian listens to her stories, sends goodnight texts, shows her stability she hasn't felt in years. He brings flowers on the third date, doesn't push, doesn't tease. He's kind, supportive, patient. And 6 weeks in, Claire tells him, "You're a great guy. I just don't know if I feel that spark." What happened? He played it safe. He avoided tension. He made her comfortable but not excited. He gave everything and left nothing for her to chase. Here's the issue: the nice guy gives value too soon, too easily, and without boundaries. He's not leading, he's following her emotional lead. She pulls back, he chases harder. She acts cold, he gets warmer. She withdraws, he tries to fix it. And that energy, it's not seductive, it's submissive. See, women aren't attracted to compliance. They're drawn to emotional polarity. They don't want a man who blends into their world. They want a man who shakes it a little. Brian thought being kind was enough, but kindness without challenge, it fades fast. Real attraction lives in contrast, in feeling safe and intrigued, in knowing a man is emotionally available but not emotionally dependent. When everything is too easy, there's no mystery. When there's no mystery, there's no tension. And when there's no tension, there's no spark. Claire wasn't being cruel. She wasn't playing games. She simply didn't feel what she needed to feel because Brian didn't create that energy. He was playing to be liked, not showing up to be felt. The nice guy gets sidelined because he forgets one thing. Desire doesn't live in comfort. It lives in curiosity, in challenge, in feeling slightly unsure but deeply drawn in. Now, this doesn't mean you act like a jerk. It means you stop giving yourself away so easily. You lead with your truth, not her approval. That's the shift. The man who leads creates emotional motion. He's not rude, but he's honest. He's not aggressive, but he's assertive. He's not cold, but he's firm. That's what Claire was missing. Not love, not effort, but emotional gravity. So if you've ever felt like Brian, the man who does everything right and still gets overlooked, this is your wake-up call. Stop being nice to avoid rejection. Start being real to create desire. Because when a man knows who he is and doesn't bend to be chosen, he becomes the one women want to choose. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments below. I stopped being nice. Say it like you mean it. Say it like Brian should have said it the moment he felt her pulling away. And don't go anywhere, because what's coming next will show you how to stop being safe and start being unforgettable. Number 4. Stop chasing her approval. Let's make this simple. The more you seek her approval, the less attractive you become. Approval seeking is a subtle form of self-rejection. It says, "Who I am isn't enough until you validate it." And the moment a woman senses that energy, even if it's under the surface, the dynamic shifts. You're no longer the man who leads. You're the man who asks for permission to exist in her world. Here's what most men don't understand. You can't be both attractive and approval-seeking at the same time, because attraction requires polarity, tension, a sense that you're already complete with or without her. And when you start tiptoeing around her reactions, changing how you speak to keep her happy, filtering your truth so she doesn't pull away, you become predictable. Worse, you become forgettable. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. You were not built to be molded by someone else's perception. You were built to stand, speak, act, and move from a solid internal place. Not because it pleases her, but because it's who you are. When you chase her approval, you hand her your frame. You let her lead the dance emotionally. And while she might appreciate the attention, at first it doesn't create pull. It doesn't ignite desire, because she doesn't want a man who reacts to her. She wants a man who stands firm even when she tests him, especially when she tests him. And make no mistake, women test. Not to punish you, but to feel you. To feel if your confidence is real. To feel if your attention is earned or desperate. To feel if your presence is a gift or a request. When a woman senses that your approval comes from within, when you don't chase validation, when you don't flinch at her moods, she feels safe and turned on, because now she's dealing with a man, not a boy trying to please. This is why Stoic energy is so rare and so magnetic. It's not about being indifferent. It's about being internally anchored so deeply that nothing she does makes you lose your center. And that kind of presence, that's unforgettable. So if you found yourself over-texting, over-explaining, laughing at jokes you didn't find funny, agreeing when you didn't mean it, stop. That's not connection, that's performance. And the truth is, she feels it. Your energy is more honest than your words. And when your energy says, I need her to approve of me, she instinctively pulls back. Not because she's cruel, because she wants a man who values himself more than he values her reaction. So drop the act, drop the strategy, drop the approval seeking, show up in your truth, lead with presence, and let the chips fall where they fall. And if you're ready to go even deeper into this kind of masculine power, join the membership. Inside, we break down not just the psychology but the practice, the step-by-step habits that will turn this into your lifestyle. Grounded, clear, desired. No more chasing, no more proving. Just power embodied. Now say it in the comments. I don't need approval. Own it. Let every man reading know you're out of that game. And don't move yet, because in the next part we're flipping the whole script on how real confidence makes her crave your presence even in silence. Number 5. Be unpredictable, not dependable. Let's flip everything you were taught. You've been told that being dependable is what women want, that showing up every time, texting on time, calling on schedule, always being available is the key to winning her over. But here's the truth. You were never told being too dependable kills desire. Predictability is great for a job. It's terrible for attraction. Meet Chris, 51, divorced for 3 years, finally getting back into the dating game. He meets Megan, 46, fun, spontaneous, emotionally mature. Chris wants to do things right this time. He sets dinner dates every Friday night, sends a good morning text by 7:30 a.m. every day, always replies within minutes. He even lets her know exactly when he's free for the next 3 weeks. No mystery, no tension, just pure dependability. By week 4, Megan seems distant. She's not texting back as fast. She forgets about plans. She tells him she feels like things are moving too fast. Chris is confused. He thought he was doing everything right. But what Chris didn't realize was this: by being perfectly available, he became emotionally invisible. When a woman can predict everything you'll say, when she knows your schedule better than her own, when nothing surprises her anymore, the spark dies. There's no more curiosity. And without curiosity, attraction fades fast. Women don't crave constant attention. They crave emotional movement. Highs, lows, pauses, shifts. They want to feel that pulse of, what's he going to do next? Not in a manipulative way, but in a masculine, alive way. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unreliable. It means not being a robot. It means having a life, a mission, energy that pulls you in other directions, not just her orbit. When a man is deeply involved in his own path, he becomes naturally less predictable and way more attractive. She doesn't know when he'll call, because he doesn't need to. She doesn't know when he's free because his time is valuable. And that tension, that space, it pulls her in. Chris didn't need to disappear. He just needed to stop being so obvious, to make her feel something unexpected, to inject some risk into the rhythm. Even subtle shifts matter. Break the routine, change the pace, skip a day. Let her wonder, where is he today? Because in that wondering desire starts to build. Remember, mystery is a form of presence. When she doesn't have all of you all the time, her mind fills the gaps, and that's where fantasy begins. So if you've been overly predictable, stop trying to win her with your schedule. Start drawing her in with your unpredictability. Let her feel that you're not fully in her pocket. Let her sense that your world is bigger than just her, because that's what makes you magnetic. Now, I want to hear from you. Type it below, I broke the pattern. Let's see how many men are ready to stop being a calendar and start being a mystery. And what's next? Let's just say it's the one trait women never admit they want, but secretly crave more than anything else. Number 6. Don't worship her, challenge her. If you treat her like a goddess, she'll treat you like a fan. Here's something men rarely want to hear. Putting her on a pedestal is the fastest way to make her lose interest. Because once you start acting like she's better than you, she starts to believe it too. You compliment her constantly. You laugh at every joke. You nod at everything she says. You agree when you don't mean it, all in hopes that she'll like you more. But what you're really showing is this. You don't see yourself as her equal. You're acting like you're lucky just to be in the room. And that energy, it's not attractive, it's submissive. Stoic philosopher Epictetus wrote, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." If you knew who you were, you wouldn't be trying so hard to impress. You'd speak to her like a man, not a servant. Women don't want a man who worships them. They want a man who respects them, but still challenges them. A man who sees through the performance, who calls out the nonsense, who's not afraid to say, "No, I don't agree," and mean it. Because deep down she doesn't want another follower. She wants polarity. She wants the fire of being seen, called out, teased, even lightly confronted. That's what makes her feel alive. Worship is comfortable but boring. Challenge is risky and irresistible. And no challenging her doesn't mean being disrespectful or combative. It means being real, present, unmoved by her looks or her moods. It means teasing her when she's being dramatic, holding frame when she pushes. It means showing that you're not afraid of tension, you welcome it. Because here's what most guys miss: women test the men they're drawn to. And if you fold every time she pushes, if you soften your stance just to keep the peace, she stops feeling anything. Real connection isn't built through worship. It's built through tension, play, pushback, presence. That moment when you call her bluff with a smirk. That pause after she throws a fit and you stay calm. That energy that says, "I see you and I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not bending either." That's masculine gravity. And it pulls her in without a word. A woman can only respect a man who respects himself first. And self-respect means you're not putting anyone above you, no matter how beautiful, intelligent, or impressive she is. When you challenge her in the right way, you create polarity. You stir something in her she doesn't feel with most men. You don't just flatter her ego, you touch her core. So stop bowing. Stop praising every word. Start showing up as a full, grounded man who knows he brings something to the table and isn't afraid to shake it now and then. She doesn't need worship. She needs a man who can match her fire. Let's make it real. Drop this in the comments right now. I challenge her energy. Let it be known you're done playing it safe. You're here to lead, not follow. And stay sharp, because what's coming next will explain why silence, when done right, can make her crave your presence even more than words ever could. Number 7. Need is not desire. Let's clear something up. Just because you need her doesn't mean she's going to want you. In fact, the more you need her, the more she pulls away. This is where most men lose the game without realizing it. They confuse emotional dependence with connection. They think, if I just show her how much I care, how much I need her in my life, she'll see how real this is. But what she actually feels is pressure, and pressure kills desire. Let's look at someone like James, 45, a financial advisor from Houston. He starts seeing Emily, 43, a teacher, divorced, 2 kids. They hit it off, early texts, all-day calls every night, weekend plans locked in. James starts feeling that emotional rush, and he leans in hard. He tells her how much better life is with her in it, that he's never felt this kind of connection before, that he wants to see her more. But Emily starts to slow down. She replies later, gets busier, starts saying things like, I just need some space. James is confused. He's giving more. Why is she giving less? Because he made a crucial mistake. He started needing her more than she needed to wonder about him. You see, desire doesn't grow in certainty. It grows in curiosity, in anticipation, in the emotional space where she's thinking, what's going on in his world today? Neediness removes all of that. When you show up with full emotional hunger, expecting her to feed it, she feels that weight, and instead of feeling drawn to you, she feels smothered. Stoic men understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Neediness is craving. It's the energy of emptiness. And no woman wants to be responsible for filling that void. What she desires is not your need, it's your self-possession, your centeredness, your ability to enjoy her presence without depending on it, to want her but not need her. Let's be clear, wanting someone is healthy, craving them to feel okay about yourself, that's where it falls apart. James could have kept Emily's interest if he had shown that his life was full, that his world kept spinning with or without her, that he valued her but didn't require her to feel whole. That's where power lives, in being content in yourself and inviting her to join you, not to save you. So if you've been showing up like James, over-giving, over-texting, over-sharing, it's time to pull your center back, not as a tactic, but as a return to yourself. Let her feel that you want her, but that your emotional survival doesn't hinge on her response. That's the line between attraction and desperation, and she feels it. Drop this in the comments right now, I want, not need. Let that be your standard from this moment forward. And don't miss what's next, because the difference between silence and emotional absence, that's where the real tension begins. Number 8. Less reaction, more impact. Here's something every man needs to understand. Women don't remember how loud you were. They remember how still you were when things got messy. Most guys are trained to react. She pulls away, you chase. She gets cold, you get anxious. She says something emotional, you scramble to fix it, explain it, solve it. But here's the brutal truth. Reacting doesn't build connection, it kills respect. Because the more reactive you are, the more predictable you become. You're easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to move. And there's zero attraction in that. What creates impact isn't volume, it's presence. It's a calm, grounded energy that says, you can storm all you want, I'm not moving. She doesn't want you to explode or shut down. She wants to feel your center, that place in you that doesn't shake no matter what she throws. When you overreact, you give her control. When you underreact, you keep your power. You see, women are emotional by nature. That's not an insult, it's biology. Their emotions move fast. And when they do, they subconsciously look to you and ask, can he hold this? Can he handle me right now? And if you panic, argue, or try to win the moment, you lose her attention. Because you just showed her, I can't hold you. I can't even hold myself. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. That quote alone should be a tattoo on the mind of every man. You always have a choice: stay grounded or get dragged. Reactiveness shows emotional immaturity. Restraint shows depth. It shows discipline. But let's be clear, Stoicism isn't silence. It's intention. It's self-mastery. It's choosing not to dance to someone else's emotional tune. Seneca nailed it when he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That's what reacting is: suffering in imagination. You imagine rejection, betrayal, abandonment, so you react from fear, not truth. But when you choose stillness, when you choose to pause, you send a signal she can't ignore. I lead the emotional tone here, and that is power. Because she feels safe in it, she feels seen in it, and she respects you more for it, even if she doesn't say it. Here's where it gets wild. The less reactive you are, the more curious she becomes. Your silence invites her in. Your composure builds tension. Your calmness makes her lean forward. You're no longer explaining yourself. You're no longer fighting to be understood. You're simply being, and that alone becomes magnetic. She'll test you. Of course she will. She'll say things to poke your ego. She'll withdraw to watch you chase. But when you don't flinch, when you don't fold, that's when she feels something she doesn't feel often. Attraction born from respect, not just sexual interest, admiration, and that's rare. So next time your heart races and your ego screams to speak up, prove yourself, argue back, don't. Pause, feel everything, and still choose to say nothing. That's what Stoic men do. They absorb, observe, and act from power, not panic. Now, lock it in. Type it in the comments: I lead the energy. Say it because you mean it. Say it because you're done reacting and ready to command every room you walk into. And coming up next, we're going deeper. Because emotional control is one thing, but what you own inside, that's what sets you apart. Number 9, make her earn your presence. Let's be real for a second. If your time is always available, it stops being valuable. Women don't chase men who are constantly accessible. They chase men whose presence feels like a privilege, not a guarantee. Think about Dave, 42, divorced, lives in Tampa. Owns a decent contracting business, works hard, stays in shape, solid guy. But every time his ex-wife texts, even late at night, he's there. Not just replying, rearranging his life for her. He thinks he's showing maturity, staying connected for the sake of their shared history. But from her side, she sees a man she can call whenever, however. No effort needed, no mystery left. Then there's Maria, 38, marketing exec, lives 2 states over. She's smart, successful, attractive, and she knows it. She and Dave started casually texting again after a brief fling. He thought this was his second shot. But the more he made himself available, the less she responded. It's not because she didn't like him, it's because she didn't have to earn him. See, when a man is always ready, always reachable, always emotionally wide open, he's no longer a challenge. He's just there. And women don't desire there. They desire earned. Let me say this clearly, your attention is a currency. When you give it freely to everyone, it becomes worthless. When you reserve it for those who respect it, it becomes power. Making her earn your presence doesn't mean you play games or ignore her. It means you have standards, you have structure, you have a life that doesn't pause just because she calls. This is where most men mess up. They confuse availability with attraction. They think being nice means saying yes to everything. But being nice isn't what turns her on. Being valuable does. Here's what earning looks like. She respects your time. She initiates contact sometimes, not just receives it. She shows consistent effort, not just attention when she's bored. And if she doesn't, you don't chase. You hold the line. Because here's the Stoic angle on this. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Sometimes not responding, not jumping at every opportunity, Not explaining yourself will feel awkward, even cold. But in truth, you're creating space for something deeper. You're teaching her and yourself that your presence has weight. When she earns that, she won't take it for granted. Look, women are emotional. They don't always process logic first, but they feel when a man values himself. They notice when you respect your own time, and that triggers something powerful. Instead of you trying to impress her, she starts wondering if she's good enough for you. Instead of you being the one who waits, she starts watching your patterns, trying to stay on your radar. That shift flips everything. Let me also make this clear. This isn't about being rude. This isn't about withholding love or affection. It's about calibrating access. Just like she expects a man to prove he's worth her time, you get to expect the same. Your presence becomes a mirror. If she's respectful, consistent, invested, she sees the best of you. If she's flaky, distant, manipulative, she gets less of you, or none of you. Simple. And trust me, this isn't just about dating. It applies to exes, flings, even long-term partners. Because once your presence becomes expected, it loses its edge. Once it's earned, it becomes addictive. Now here's the part you might resist, the truth most men never act on. If she never earns it, you walk. Quietly. No drama. No long speeches. Because the man who values his own presence never begs someone to value it for him. Now let me hear from you. If you're done giving away energy to women who haven't earned it, drop this in the comments. I honor my presence. Say it. Mean it. Live it. Number 10. Detachment is power. Here's the truth. No one tells men the less you need her, the more powerful you become in her eyes. Detachment is not indifference. It's not apathy. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about not being controlled by caring. Most men confuse desire with dependence. They think wanting a woman means needing her to respond, needing her to choose them, needing her to validate their worth. But here's the reality: the more emotionally dependent you are, the weaker your presence becomes. Women don't fall for need. They fall for strength, for direction, for emotional independence. When you detach from outcomes, you stop chasing. You stop trying to impress. You stop calculating your every move to win her over. And suddenly, you become the most attractive man in the room. Because now she's not dealing with someone begging for her attention, she's dealing with someone who's whole, with or without it. That energy, it's magnetic. This is the quiet confidence that makes her question her position. It makes her chase not because she's manipulated, but because she senses your self-respect. Detachment doesn't mean you don't love. It means you love from a place of strength, not survival. You can walk away. You can let go. Not because you don't care, but because you refuse to shrink for anyone. The Stoics taught this with brutal clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's detachment. It's not about rejecting women. It's about rejecting the idea that your peace depends on any woman. Most guys live in emotional slavery. Their mood swings with her text messages. Their confidence dies when she pulls back. Their self-worth crashes if she chooses someone else. That's not love. That's weakness. And weakness never wins desire. But the man who can detach, the man who holds his own regardless, that man commands attention without asking for it. He doesn't demand respect. He embodies it. This kind of detachment doesn't come from playing games. It comes from deep internal clarity. You know what you offer. You know where you're going. You know your value. So her presence is a bonus, not your lifeline. And ironically, that's what makes her crave it more. Because now you're not handing yourself to her. You're letting her earn a place in your world. Detachment creates space, and space creates attraction. It's the space where she wonders, where she imagines, where she questions, what's he thinking, what's he doing, why isn't he chasing? And in that gap you gain gravity. You see, most women have been chased endlessly. They're used to men folding fast, prioritizing their feelings, rearranging their lives to keep them happy. But when you're detached, you offer her something rare. A man who's grounded in something deeper than her approval. You offer her mystery. You offer her certainty. You offer her freedom from being the center of someone else's emotional universe. And that makes her feel more drawn to you than any compliment, any gift, any grand gesture. Because women don't crave control. They crave emotional strength. So what does detachment look like in practice? It looks like not over-explaining, not double-texting, not spiraling when she's distant, not chasing when she's cold. It looks like holding your standard even when she tests it. It looks like walking away not to punish, but to protect your peace. It looks like honoring yourself first, every time. And here's the most stoic part of all detachment. Reminds you that everything in life is borrowed. Love, attention, connection, it can all vanish. But the one thing that stays is your discipline, your character, your center. That's the one thing you never negotiate. Because when she sees a man who's not shaken by her silence, who's not moved by her mood swings, who stands tall in storms, she feels something primal. Respect, desire, and often submission. So stop clinging, stop proving, stop needing, start standing. Detachment isn't distance, it's dominance. Real quiet, grounded dominance. The kind that doesn't shout, it just is. So that's it, 10 shifts. Each one simple, but when you apply them, they flip the dynamic. You stop chasing, you start attracting. Not because you played games, but because you chose to lead, to detach, to rise. If this hit home for you, and you're ready to go even deeper into stoic masculinity, relationships, and real inner power, join the membership. That's where we go beyond surface-level talk and into the strategies most men never hear. The real stuff, the edge you've been looking for. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. One video every day. No fluff, no filters. Just real tools for real men. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.